All right. I think we're ready. Let's do this thing. Oh, got my webcam covered. It was almost magical. It was almost already and set up. Dang, how you guys doing? Good morning. All right. So, I've got a couple of things to ask first. How you doing? And then the second thing is, what do you guys think? Should we continue on building out this character? I think I'm going to turn off that flying fish. The flying fish is actually probably not what I'll have there in the end. I'll probably have like earth down beneath her hand or something like that. Sorry, I've got something down beneath my feet. Gotta get it out. Yeah, so I've either got this character, which is the character that we were working on last week. This is my ZBrush Summit character redesign sculpt off character from last year or whenever it was. And last week we did this crazy hair, which was super fun. So yeah, we've got this. Let me turn on perspective so we get a little bit more of the proper view of her. And then I also have this character that I started, I think it was last week as part of a demo for a class that I teach at Noman. Yeah, I was curious. What do you guys want to see? This particular character, let me load in a spotlight texture. I can't see my screen. ZBrush Summit, nope. But I'm going to pin this to quick access. Let me see. I gotta think. Stop thinking so much. Why are you thinking so much? Let's go over here. Ogre Mama. This is what this character is intended to be. She's got a long way to go before she's finished, which is kind of fun, right? So, so what do you guys think? Continue. I'd say maybe we continue on with Mother Earth, and I'll leave my ogre mama for for a different week. In fact, here I'll shove this up into the corner so that it's. But yeah, the ogre mama is one that it was a design that I did based off of a pose from a figure drawing night that I went to. It was fun. Okay. Trying to take a look and see if there's anything like blaringly obvious that I want to go ahead and modify or change. I know that things that I want to work on include the hands. This hand pose doesn't feel quite natural to me. This is the pose that it was left in after the sculpt off. I'll have to fix up some of this arm anatomy too. But yeah, I mean, really, it's coming along really nicely, and it's been really fun to return to her and kind of play with her. I do need to straighten out that wrist though, so let's do this. I'm going to start off doing that. So, oops, my goodness, I've got a bunch of junk on my desk. I've been doing a lot of molding and casting lately. In fact, let me pull out the webcam view so I can show you guys. It's kind of fun. This is my fish bot, and the camera's not picking up the color at all, but it's like this jade color. It's really, really fun. So I got that guy. I've got some different, planar colors. Like this is really hard to see. It's kind of like this salmon colored. And I've got a few. I've got like a red one and stuff like that. And it's been really fun to go through and get these things rolling, to get them ready for Lightbox Expo later this year. Super exciting. I'm really excited about it, guys. Just like super excited. Let's go back and we'll jump back into our ZBrush view here. Yeah, it's gonna be super cool. How many of you guys are going to Lightbox? Yes, I do make my own molds. One of the things that I want to do is get some sort of, and even if it's just like borrowing it from a friend or something, I want to get a vacuum chamber. Hopefully not a big one because I don't have anywhere to put it, but yeah, to be able to like pull bubbles and things like that a little bit better. Smooth that out some. Yeah. Eliminating bubbles is always good, especially when they're super visible. I can't see it right now. Oh, there it is. And it's hard to tell on the screen. I've got like this ghost version. It's beautiful. It's super cool, but there are tons of bubbles. And part of the reason that I have tons of bubbles in this is because I was like really hasty and trying to. It was my first cast with this type of resin, so I wasn't sure about the work time and like how it would feel and everything like that. I didn't keep track of how long I had taken in getting it put together, so it got a little out of hand, and I didn't have proper vents, and yeah, the just got kind of crazy. So there were tons of bubbles when I was from like vigorous mixing. I didn't degas it at all. There's just all sorts of stuff, improper vents, and so there are a ton of bubbles in there that you guys can't see because of the camera quality, but similar sort of thing. Very, very cool though. So yeah, the idea. Oh, I didn't realize that it still had Dynamesh on it. And you know what? Maybe what I should do. Did this ever not have those fingers merged? Nope, it's always had them merged. Okay, so let's work with it, I guess. Um, Here's what we're going to do. I am going to take... Let's go ahead and... Oh, here, let's do it like this. We'll say... Mask that off. Start here, come down. Mask that off. Start here, come down. Something like that. Then what we can do, Control W, we can come up here, just real quick. I'll do one more thing with this, with Dynamesh. Turn on groups, and now we can go ahead and remesh it. Boom. Look at that. So much nicer. So now we've got that finger. In fact, let's just invert our visibility. And we will use clip curve. Okay, something like that. Use trim dynamic for the rest of this. Just trying to carefully get this to feel more uniform and more together. There we go. So now what I should be able to do is bring everything back. We'll grab this finger, we'll kind of rotate it out some. Let's kind of come over here and we will, oh shoot. Try to keep everything else masked the way that we need it. We're going to try to unmask that finger so that it's, so that I can kind of rotate it out a little bit. Just a little bit. Just to make it a little bit more a little bit more natural. This little spot right here, I'm just going to smooth that out some so that it doesn't. So what I want to do is I want to merge it all together, and I want to have ZRemesher create some new geometry for us. I'm not gonna lie, like this is kind of a fun bit of geometry to have made the whole character within that 3-hour time frame. Yeah, making molds and casting, it can be more economical. It just depends on whether or not you get it to turn out the way you need it to be. Because it's a real struggle. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's unless you have like all the equipment to for degassing your silicone, which fortunately like my silicone's been just fine. I haven't had any issues with the silicone, but I've definitely had issues with my resin because of not being able to degas. Sure, you shared them enough already, but what are your thoughts on the Maxon takeover? It's takeover is not the right word. I know that a lot of people kind of feel that way. It's definitely a merger, though. It's hard. It's hard because it's going to be expensive for the individual user, and I think that that's been a huge blessing for everybody, right? For anybody who is, their own user, the hobbyist, anybody who's not a big corporate license owner, because it's been, free upgrades for years, for over 20 years. And, myself included. So, I'm super, super grateful to Pixelogic for having had that for as long as they did. I wish that it was still continuing with single license users, because, a lot of the money in the first place came from corporate licenses and corporate license renewals. That's why, like at Disney, we always had a hard time getting them to update our licenses because they had to pay to upgrade. But yeah, it's just a different world now, and different things we got to do now. I'm gonna pull out this hand pad here. Let's boost our smooth intensity back. Well, I personally wouldn't mind paying for it. It's just out of my pocket, out of my price range. It gets really, really kind of hard. The thing that I would encourage people to do, one, don't torrent, don't pirate your licenses. That's terrible, and part of the reason why companies decide to charge a lot. But I think the big thing that I would encourage people to do is that if you're a student, get the student license. The Maxon 1 student license it's $20 a year. It's $9.99 every 6 months. So that's fantastic. The tricky thing is that, it likely has different different requirements. Like, you probably wouldn't be able to use it for freelance and things like that. But if you're a hobbyist, if you're a student, that's a fantastic opportunity to be able to get all the software at a very discounted price. So I would totally recommend doing that. Oops, let's go ahead and do this again. It's a little bit strong right here. Kind of pull it back some. But yeah, so my encouragement is, don't let price kind of be a deterrent for you. In, like, if you enjoy the Pixelogic, the ZBrush software, if you've enjoyed it, especially if you've enjoyed it as long as I have, don't just jump ship and call them bad and things like that, because they're not, and they're not trying to make everything painful for everybody. They're really just trying to create a way forward where they can create a better product in the future, where they have a partnership that will allow for better not even better development, because they do a fantastic job anyway, where they have expanded opportunity for development. So I've been inside of ZBrush since 2012. It's been awesome. This is definitely my top software. It's what I use all day long at Marvel. It's awesome. It is awesome. Yeah, I love ZBrush. Try to pull this in, get this hand started to feel a little bit more hand-like. Kind of pull this around, kind of like that, maybe. So yeah. I definitely encourage you, because I mean, it's still, especially if you have a perpetual license and had one since before the whatever the cutoff time is. My understanding is that that perpetual license will continue to function for you. It's just the upgrades that'll essentially cost. So yeah, I mean, I just encourage everybody to just remember, this is still one. ZBrush is still industry standard. There are places that use Blender, there are places that do things like that, but when you start using it for commercial uses, Blender's no longer free. So keep that in mind. But ZBrush is still very much yeah, I love that they're not dissolving that. Adobe was very different from that standpoint, where they kind of made their old hey Prashan, how you doing, buddy? How are you doing? Yeah, where like Adobe made their old perpetual licenses with the Creative Suite obsolete, like really, really quickly as soon as they moved into the Creative Cloud stuff. But yeah, Pixelogic is keeping those keeping those licenses, making it something that we can still continue to use. Okay, I'm going to do a quick trick to be. I want to try to control my topology a little bit, going up this hand, going up this arm, and so the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to use polygrouping. So we can, you can go through and you can use like the paint tool to be able to polygroup it, but I'm not big on polygroup it. So what I want to do is I'm just going to use the slice curve. This is just a weird trick, but it works like a charm. So let me turn off the line so we can see what we're doing a little bit better. So I'm just going to go along, and anywhere where I want there to be kind of a loop, I'm just going to kind of define it. It may not turn out perfectly, exactly the way that we want it, but this will help to kind of determine a little bit of that edge flow going around. Let me see. Let's see about getting these fingers. Put a little bend in it. There you go. You can do it. Okay, so this became a little bit kind of crazy, so I'm going to here, let's actually come over here. Let's invert our visibility here, and I'm just going to add a little bit more to that. You know what? Maybe I'll just keep it kind of the way that it was. Do something more like this, I think. Hopefully it works. I need to change to my selection tool now. Let's make sure we got that whole thing there. Control W. Yeah, I love paying attention to topology inside of ZBrush. I love clean topology. Anybody who knows me well knows enough to know that I'm big on topology. And this is one of my favorite uses for ZRemesher. ZRemesher doesn't get you perfect topology. It's not something that would be, perfectly ready for production, but it does get you some pretty dang good topology. And something that's usable for sculpting. So that's boogered up. Yeah, let's go ahead. I'm going to cut this off. We'll make it part of the hand here. Thanks, Prashant. Let me see. I love ZBrush. I'm good at drawing, but comes to sculpting, my drawing brain pulls me back. So suggestions, just do more. It's all about just getting some mileage in there, getting used to the tools, just using it. A lot of what I did to be able to get better at ZBrush was just like daily sculpting exercises. I would pick a word, usually an adjective, and that was the best way for me to just have a theme, and then I do a speed sculpt based on the theme. Just take like a half hour to an hour. I don't do speed sculpts really as much anymore. I do long haul projects, which is fine. Sometimes I do speed sculpts and turn them into long haul projects, but it's all just about having fun for me now. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. Let's grab that. We'll say Control W. Now we've got all these pieces kind of ordered in, I'm going to turn on the line again just so we can see the difference of what it is that it does. So I'll leave that there. And we will take this up over here. Let's go into ZRemesher now. Okay, so Dynamesh is turned off. That's a big thing. Big thing to keep in mind. I'm going to turn off Adapt. And I'm going to turn on Keep Groups. Okay. Hopefully this will work well for us. I'll leave the poly count at 5. Let's see just kind of what that does. I'm going to hold Alt and hit ZRemesher. I almost always do the alternative ZRemesher versus the regular one. I like it. Look at that. we have some pretty decent topology. You see how it's got the edge loops going in the right directions. We don't have any weird poles or anything like that going in. We do have some like funky business happening around the fingers, but I mean it's fine. It's good enough. Just kind of smooth it out, get a better transition in here. Because I mean, in the end, this isn't meant for production. It's meant for a final image. So I'm just going to grab this. Yeah, it's amazing. It's great. Same thing with like fingertips. Fingertips aren't perfect, but it's it's good enough for what we need. Okay, really nice, simple. Oh, there's a funny little pole. How about that? Oh, it didn't realize that. It didn't realize what it is that it wanted to do right there. Oh well. Oh, I guess we have a couple up here too. Doesn't really matter much. Okay. This will help us to control the forms much better, get much cleaner forms, and also get cleaner transitions between things like the upper arm, lower arm. See, I'm just going to kind of even out this topology a little bit better, just so that it's smoother. And this way, having topology that's lower res and things like that, it allows me to be able to take this over into Maya or any other rendering package at some point, maybe Redshift, and then be able to render, work with materials, all sorts of cool things because of having UVs, all that stuff, because of having a good low res mesh. Okay, let's bring it back. Technically we don't need the upper half of the arm. That's fine, I'll keep it though. Let me see. Try to think of the method now, but I think I watched Shane Olson using a union mesh for cleanup. Yeah, Shane. What Shane does is he's got like inside of here, he likes to use the remesh by ZBrush, I think, or remesh by union. And I think that's dealing with pieces that are kind of mushed together, because he likes to push pieces into each other and just kind of. It's like using chunks of clay and just kind of moving things around and whatnot. So that's an option. Like for instance, let's come up here. If we wanted to get, I thought I had this as separate pieces. It's kind of messy anyway. But like for instance, I don't want the AccuCurve curve on anymore. Smooth some things out here. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, so the for instance would be like if I were to take, we've got these pieces back here. I'm not going to worry about that too much though. Let's see. Let's grab the select rectangle. Well, I guess it's not. Never mind. I'm not even going to try it with this particular piece. Let's try it with. Let's do this. I'm going to cut off the lower half of her body. Let's do that. We'll say subtool, split hidden, We'll come back down, we'll say geometry, modify topology, close holes, just so that way it's closed off. Same thing, we'll say close holes. And now what I want to do is I want to merge this to the legs. There we go, it looks like these are the legs. So I'm just going to go ahead and merge this down, merge this down. So now I've got these pieces in here. In fact, let's go ahead and let's select the color here just so that we have the right color. Now we can go ahead and we should be able to hit. Oh, I was like, why isn't it showing up for me? Now we can go ahead and select this and we can say remesh by union. You can see like it's going through and it's literally creating this Boolean edge right here. One of the other things that he does though is using this remesh by union and then remesh by Z remesher. So I'll go ahead and I'll hit that remesh by Z remesher, and I honestly haven't played around with this one, so it's going to be a matter of just kind of playing with it to be able to see what it gives us. I think I might have pulled out. Oh, that should be good. 1,000. So hopefully that gets us down to like 1,000. It's not taking me up to 1,000,000 something. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what this does. Yeah. So remesh by union. Yeah, there we go. Remesh by union, yeah, it's definitely what it does. It'll go through and it'll make it so that it's watertight. Makes it so that you don't have to worry about. Yeah, it makes it so that it's watertight, so that you don't have to worry about there being pieces floating on the inside, things like that. This is kind of nice because now it's got topology that kind of works. You know, it's lower res. This is a little bit too defined around the butt crack region. So we're going to kind of smooth this out some, but this will be nice for defining the character a little bit better, making it so that's a little bit more final, something that's clean and sculptable. It's not, it's definitely not the way that I would build pants if I were getting this ready for production, but whatever. I'm going to get rid of a few polys through here. These lower edges over here, I'm just going to get rid of them. Let me see. Let's say geometry, delete hidden. That way we have a much nicer surface there. And while we're at it, let's do a similar sort of thing for this this top area. Delete hidden. Delete hidden. Just so that we have a nicer cap on top. So, hey Jimmy. Mr. No Spare Time. I have 10 minutes of spare time today right now. I noticed your live stream. Doing pretty well. How you doing, dude? Dude, hey, if anybody doesn't know Jimmy Levinsky yet, you got to check him out. Some of the cleanest 3D work you will ever find. So sorry if your 10 minutes is going to be taken up by me plugging you, but in fact, I could check out Instagram, ArtStation. ArtStation might have the link to be able to get me over to his Jimmy Levinsky. Come on, go down. There we go. Yeah, check this out. So much cool stuff. This Land Before Time piece is awesome. Robin Hood and Little John. This Vampirella character, super, super neat. Just all these beautiful sculpts. This mermaid, based off of, I'm pretty sure it's a Corey Loftus design, right? Amazing, amazing. So if you're interested in finding him, here's his link. And then he's over in Denmark. Man, I was out in your neck of the woods recently. I should have dropped down to Denmark to say hi. Do you have your link to your Instagram? There we go. Go give Jimmy a follow. Amazing artist. So that's Jimmy Levinsky, guys. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. So right now, what I'm up to, just to show you, since you were so kind as to come in and say hello, I've got this this character that I started as part of the ZBrush Sculpt Off last year. It's Mother Earth. Oh, hey, look at that. Let's grab skin shade, MRGB, color, fill object. No, not that one. Color, fill object. Material, color, fill object. Some of these things, like, maybe I'll take the shirt over into this neck of the woods here, fill object. But I do want the pants to feel like they have their own separate yeah, anyway, so my character is a redesign of Mother Earth. So it's it's all just kind of fun. Thanks, Jimmy. Yeah, I think I can push it a little bit further. I'll have to figure out what exactly I do for it, but it's so much fun. Is it possible to be a good character artist and also good at rigging animation? That character, do industry have that kind of? Yes. So there's always a use for generalists. Yeah, she's busy. She's like using her phone, and she's she's millennial Mother Earth. It's really super fun. Let's see, I gotta come over here and try to figure out what I'm gonna. Somehow it got messed up. Okay, let's just do it like this. Boom. Okay, now we can do it. Yeah, it's just kind of fun. I get so scatterbrained when I'm doing stuff, and I think it's because I teach Friday nights, and so it's like I'm trying to not have a Friday night brain. Let's go ahead and kind of rotate these up. Let's grab that phone, kind of reposition it so that it's more in her hand, and then we can try to reposition that hand so that it's around the phone. Viz dev to model to rig, yeah. So a lot of and I guess there are a couple of people at Pixar that they don't do the whole process of going through the like the viz dev to the model to the rig, but really they're very, very few. Generally speaking, at Pixar, the character modelers are also the character riggers, but there's a whole different department for surfacing, which would be like the textures, the materials, those sorts of things. At Marvel, I'm kind of a viz dev artist. I get to sculpt, I get to model, and I get to I don't get to rig, which I'm fine with because I don't rig. But I do get to This is like messy. I do get to do texturing, and I do get to do those sorts of things, which is awesome. It's so much fun. Yeah, I'm absolutely loving it, and I've got a great team, and it's all just great. It's so good. It's exactly the kind of job that I've been wanting for years now. So good. Okay, I'm gonna bring this down some. Thanks, Jimmy. Yeah, it's been great. It has been absolutely great. I wish that I could like talk more about what it is that we're doing, but it's it's all an NDA. Let's go ahead and kind of change where these apex happen. Move that up some. Yeah, it's like as once my show's like announced in like D23 or that sort of arena, I can go ahead and say what it is what I'm working on, which is kind of hard. Yep, everything's a secret. And it's interesting because like shows have code names within Disney, within Marvel, and even when we're in meetings with other people who know exactly what it is we're talking about or what it is we're working on, who have also signed NDAs and things like that, we're still asked to use the code names for the shows. It's kind of funny to me, but it's whatever. I mean, it's what they want, so that's what we do, right? Oops. All right, gotta get this going on here, and I'm trying to think about kind of the way that um, my fingers kind of sprawl when I'm like holding my phone. I've got my phone right here, so I can kind of go back and forth and be able to see. You can see like this is how I hold my phone, and so I've got to get my hand to do that sort of thing. It's really hard. Yeah, so many NDAs. And it's hard too when you like work on a project and the project never sees the light of day and you sign an NDA, and so you're just like, dang it died in NDA. It's like that's a project I'll never get to share. You know what? Control W, just to make sure that I have, fewer polygroups to work with. You know what? Let's keep that to that piece there. That way we have, fingers with each, all our separate polygroups, which is nice. Um, it's so messy, and this is going to drive me nuts, but I'm going to keep it because because just because. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this sort of topology, it's ZRemesher and it works for sculpting, but it definitely ugh. Oops. Um, it's definitely not production topology. So yeah, definitely bear that in mind, and be patient with my terrible topology at this second. You know, it's like, oh my goodness. You know what? Let's just grab this and that. Kind of bring that up. Ah, I always do that. Oops. Invert that mask, bring that over, maybe rotate it a little bit. Yeah. Any tips on how a student should approach their final year project for environment modeling? One piece at a time. What I would do, because I think the biggest thing that you can do for environments is to make sure that you have everything blocked in. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to have everything kind of roughly modeled at first. It could be just a matter of blocking things in with something that's really low res and like very rough representative of the shape, you know. So, for instance, let me pull up. I'm pretty sure I have. We'll just go ahead and we'll just sign in. Yes, sign in as me. Just take me to my page. It's because I have to like log into ArtStation in so many different places and different sites. I have to log in so many different places for things to really work. Okay, so if you guys remember Kai's apartment, this environment kind of started off, and I think you should be able to go back and watch the videos on demand. Oh yeah, there's a good example. The chair for the desk. It's just the seat with the back. It doesn't have the full chair yet. It's just something there to kind of fill in the area, and you can see like there's not a whole lot of set dressing going on yet. I'm just kind of going through just piece by piece, trying to add pieces in there. Wow, yo, just got here. What are we doing? So just answering a quick question about environment stuff. So yeah, a lot of, you know, like you can see the kitchen's not even modeled in these shots. I do have the kitchen fairly modeled in now, but yeah, anyway, so it's just a matter of, figuring out ways to be able to, quickly add in pieces, to be able to represent pieces. Yeah, see, there's some imagery of the kitchen now. More what it looks like more more recently. Oh, and there are some videos on demand that you can watch. So yeah, it's fun. It's all just about kind of having your direction and trying to push things, piece by piece, blocking things in so that you have a rough idea of where you want them to be, and to be able to get a sense of the space too, how things are going to relate to each other, that sort of thing. Let me see. So yeah, that's my suggestion. I mean, from here, I would go through and I would still continue. You can see like the laundry basket over here. It's literally just like this lump with a couple of other lumps lumped onto it. So yeah. Oh, Jimmy, it was nice for you to stop by, dude. Take care, bro. Take care, brother. I'm not sure how it came out first. That was weird. Take care, bro. Hope you're doing well, man. But yeah, it's all about kind of getting a feel for the space, trying to block out the area. I've got something in my teeth, and it kind of hurts. Okay, that's better. Let me see. do my best to negotiate a contract where I can show the work after X amount of months or after it has become public. Yeah. I still take models back to Maya to clean wonky topology. It really bothers me with sculpting when it's working against me. Yeah, for sure. Do you do portfolio reviews? Every once in a while, not super often because of it's because of time. Yeah, as you notice, like my segment is called No Spare Time. But I do teach classes. I teach at Noman, so if you're interested in taking a class, I do that. I also have a course if you wanted to be able to kind of learn things a little bit more in depth, and then I have a Discord channel for people who buy the course that they can go and they can get feedback there. Let me see. Yeah. Cool. Call that good for now. So what we're doing for Enzo is I'm working on setting up some stuff so that I can have my character be more finished. And I'm trying to keep in mind that I want her to feel like she's looking at her phone. So I gotta set this in here, gotta pull this over. There's a lot of kind of twisting, and I'm trying to think, it's not gonna be twisting like that. It's gonna be twisting more, maybe a little bit, but not a ton. Hello, Black Monolith. And I'm going to kind of smooth this out a little bit, get that geometry to feel a little bit better. Fix some proportions on these joints here. Oh shoot, oh shoot, oh shoot. Okay. Kind of fix that a little bit there. Supposed to be in the art section. I'm not sure what you're referring to. It's not too bad of English. I'm not sure what you're referring to. What languages do you speak? If you speak Spanish, I can respond to that. If you speak French, I can try to respond to that, but it's not going to be very good. Hey, gorgeous. Merci, chérie. Oh, I see. That's interesting. Oh, now here's a question, because I haven't had anybody mention anything yet. Um, is it does it at least have the right name and stuff on here? Is it, because I didn't even check my titles before I jumped on. So I apologize if it's under the wrong name. Subscriptions. Oh, good. Okay, yeah. So it does have the right name and title and everything on there. Awesome. Hello, Sydney. How you doing, Dazzler? My mom, my son's mom. My wife just brought me some French toast. So I would say things are just downright dandy. Okay, so right now, the hand is a little bit too much. It's a little bit too much in the wrong direction. Like it's too flat. So what we got to do? Oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and grab this. We're going to give that forearm a little bit of twist. Nerds. Come on. There we go. Going to get that pointed in the right direction. Move it up to the center-ish. Let me see. I got to see if that feels about right. Does that feel about right? Needs to be a little bit more vertical, I think. A little bit more. Yeah. I don't know how they have their whatchamadiggits set up, their channels and everything set up. They might have had to kind of reclassify it because it is kind of like a talk segment and something of like a learning and self-help and that sort of thing. So maybe it's just because it's about the learning aspect of the art. I don't know. I'd personally qualify it as art stuff, and I would have it in an art channel for sure. And maybe it's just that they had something else that they were doing that was more of like a podcast sort of thing. And so maybe it just got changed and didn't get changed back, or I don't know. Or maybe they're trying to take the podcast world by storm. It's, the world may never know. That's an interesting point to know about though. 2 a.m. Wow. Holy crap. I didn't even catch that part, Dazzler. It's fun that you felt it was worth coming in and chatting and having fun. So this is starting to come on. I might have to like pull that pinky down in a little bit more down on the end so that it feels a little bit more twisted. There we go, something kind of like that maybe. use a drawing tablet, and which one? I use the Wacom Intuos Pro Medium, which, at the time that I bought it, it was the only size that they had for the newer tablets. Well, they had that, or they had a large. They didn't have a small. And I've really liked it. It's been the same tablet that I've used for the last... I've had this particular one since maybe 2018. So it's been about 4 years. Fantastic tablet. I always recommend Wacom. It's industry standard. They're more expensive, but I feel like they've always lasted, and they've never disappointed me. So it's I have tried other tablets, such as, for instance, the Oyan tablet, and it was all right so long as you weren't trying to also have a Wacom driver on there. So yeah, it's just kind of tricky. I know some people, a lot of people that will swear by XP Pen. But let me see. You're considering XN Labs. I'm not familiar with that one at all, so I can't speak to that particular brand. Does anybody else have experience with that brand, XCEN Labs? Because if anybody out there really likes theirs or something, or likes their experience, I think that could be helpful to Ian, good Sir Ian. Anybody ever used that brand? Hopefully you guys can hopefully you guys can see kind of what it is that that Ian's referring to. Pick up. Okay, there we go. Okay, so it looks like we've got you see XN Labs uses Bluetooth 5 and is wireless but with no delay like Wacom. It's important the Bluetooth 5 because it's peer-to-peer, so they do not interfere with other drawing tablets. Interesting. What do I think about all the AI art that's been popping up? I think it's really super cool. But at the same time, I don't like it because I feel like it's... I don't feel like our jobs are at stake per se because, for instance, there isn't any... And I'm sure that this is in development somewhere, right? Because we already have things like ZBrush and automatic retopology tools of all sorts of different types, right? But I don't see the artist going away anytime soon, because AI, it's great and it's doing some really interesting things, but it can't make decisions. it's just a matter of, plug and play sort of thing. I suspect that could change really like any minute. But I don't see artists going away anytime soon, because we're needed to be able to make decisions, we're needed to be able to communicate, and I'm sure that AI will be used, for now at least, as a means of being able to explore fresh ideas really quickly, because it can give you some really crazy cool things really really quickly. But no, I don't feel like it's going to put our jobs at risk anytime too soon. I was going to breathe a sigh of relief until you said that could change. Um, I do want to be very clear though. I do not feel like it will eliminate the need for a decision maker. It's more of a tool to be able to do creative exploration. Here comes Skynet. Oh boy. Um, hey Jace, how you doing? I do have a Discord. I don't know that it ever really works for me sharing um the link. Yeah, in fact, maybe it's just a matter of going to Discord, getting a new link. It's not a big community or anything like that. I feel like a lot of people who want a good ZBrush community have one already. But yeah, if you're interested, yeah, I do have a whole bunch of things on here. Um, Personal works. Here's some different like DTIYS that I've really really liked in the past, and some that I intend to go through and do. Some that I've done. I think I did this guy. He was fun. I need to add some more because I've found some other ones that I really really like. I love DTIYS because it's a great way to be able to grow your skills in 3D and have a concept to work toward, but you can also take creative liberties and explore different things. So let's see. Invite people. Edit that. Generate a link. So yeah, anybody who's interested in that, it's a great place to kind of go and hang out. I do have things, for instance, like where is it? I've got to see it now. Yeah, so like personal work, so you're able to go through and kind of share some of the stuff that you're working on. There was also, work in progress. This one Chris like has a monopoly over this channel. This is the Chris channel. Hairy mandibles all over. He's so great. He's doing some great stuff lately. But this is a place where we go and we kind of post some cool work in progress stuff, things that we're working on. Different explorations, chatting. It's fun. It's fun. So yeah, feel free to jump in and say hello. There should be also, there's general, there's random. Oh yeah, hey, look at that. There's a job board in case I like find opportunities that could be of interest to you guys. I'll put them in here. It's been a while since I've added anything, but there's also this Google Doc that is accessible and it's always updated. I think it's still there. I think it still works. And somebody goes through and like updates it constantly. Oh, it looks like it's really updated. But you can see like this is posted, the other day. Lots of different kinds of jobs. So lots of really cool kind of simple resources. Yeah. So feel free to jump in here. Test. I'll have to go ahead and update my work in progress on this character in that channel here later after the stream, just to kind of show some progress, show that I'm not dead yet. Okay, let me see. Like one thing that I want to fix is that the what's it called? The phone is kind of going into the hand a little bit, that, in a way that I don't like. So I'm trying to work that out. It does feel like there's a little bit of a wrap almost, like the skin from the palm right here kind of puffs up around the back a little bit. So I'm going to try to fix that just a smidgen. And it's a little bit too upright. It's so funny how much I'll just fidget with positioning and things like that just to try to get it right. I'm going to take all that. Let's check it just to see if I got everything I wanted. It looks like I did. That might be a little bit too much here on the side though. A few of your links are upward. A few of your works are uploading. Awesome. Welcome to the community. Okay, let me see. In fact, let's go ahead and smooth that once on each side. Give that a little bit of something like that. I'm trying to check it from a few different angles so that I don't totally ruin the pose. Like some of these shapes in here, I really want to try to keep these kind of nice. And I think that some of this could be a matter of beating your head against the desk repeatedly until I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Yeah, don't beat your head against the desk at all. I might have to turn off a couple of subtools just for the sake of getting it to be a little bit easier to, oh shoot, that's not what I wanted. Control A. For the sake of being able to see everything that I'm working on. Let me see. Ciao, velvet tapir. So I was sculpting and noticed when I Q-mesh one thing, then tap another, it Q-meshes the new object to the same height. Yep. And polygroups them all the same. Did I forget it does this automatically? Yes, you forgot. Yes, it does it automatically. It'll keep, like, it has that memory kind of built in. So when you perform one action with, you know, for instance, you Q-mesh and you Q-mesh out a poly, it'll go ahead and once you Q-mesh in a different area or different part or different group of polygons, however you do it, it'll extrude it out to the same height. And it'll also do exactly like you were talking about, the same thing with the making sure that it's that same polygroup. There isn't a way to change what polygroup it identifies things to, but it's always a super cool thing to me. Like I super love that about ZBrush. Let's extend that finger out just a smidge. Something like that going on. I can kind of clean up the shapes a little bit here and there too. But yeah. I'm not suggesting character creator 4 and iClone with their textures are crap, unusable except in Blender and Unreal. So their bones don't work in 3ds Max at least, but they do have a toon creator. Thanks, Sophia. Yeah, the hands have a bit of a way to go. In fact, I probably ought to go ahead and duplicate this hand just as it is, take it over here so that I can replace this hand. I'll do that now. Just for the sake of having clean topology for this hand. And then, yeah. I'm just going to hide this one for now. Actually, let's go ahead and bring this down so that it's below. So, you know, so they're associated with each other, right? So they're next to each other in our subtool list. I like to try to keep things organized. It makes things really easy to find and whatnot if you have a system for. The phone's huge, by the way. It's like, it's one of those things, it's almost like a mini tablet rather than a phone. I need to shrink it down some, I think. That's better. Now I just got to fix that finger going through. I'll take, oops, let's go back to that arm, other arm. Feels warm. Shoot. Let's kind of move this in just a little bit. I'm getting super sloppy with this, but it's all for fun, so I'm not really like too worried. I do need to change some slight proportions here on these fingers, so I'm trying to do that as I go along. Give that a little bit of a twist, maybe like bring it down so that it matches a little bit more with more with the curvature of that other finger here. And then I think what we'll do with this, quick save. Quick save always jumps in at those precise moments, you know. Let's bring it back so we can see. Oops, let's come back over here. We'll grab this. And I want to just kind of rotate it just a bit. I like the idea of these fingers kind of almost touching. Maybe not touching, but almost touching. It's a matter of getting a variety in the separation distance through here. Like it starts off thin, it gets a little bit thick, and then it gets like really kind of close together. It just creates a more dynamic and natural sort of shape, and it helps our minds to relate to it, to help it feel natural, you know, help it feel designed and more appealing. That little point. And then I got to work on that top finger too, because that's not bending in the right directions. Let's get this in here, and then we'll put it in the middle a little bit more. We'll rotate it some. Bless you. Kind of bring it up over here like this. Let's kind of fix the way that it's lining up here. I don't know, we might leave it so that it's not quite touching the back of the phone. It's because it could be a little bit interesting. You're having that finger kind of away a little bit more. It feels a little bit puffy, like it's like too thick, especially like right in here. So maybe it's just a matter of thinning that out a little bit. It's hard to judge sometimes. Yeah, I do have to like look different directions periodically to make sure that I don't get neck pain. It's a pain. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I definitely have to be better uh, about my position. Kind of even out this topology a little bit, just cozy it on out. Shoot. Boom. Okay. I'm just gonna try to get something worth showing for the end of the for the end of the stream. Now I kind of like. Hey, Leonard. I'm doing pretty dandy. How about you? Yeah, that thumb needs to be a little bit larger. Yeah, you're absolutely gabroche, gabroche. Skipui. um, yeah, there's definitely a big need to stretch and to be mobile and to not be getting too stuck in one position. Because yeah, it does kind of do things to your neck and shoulders and whatnot. So it's like after I'm done, I'm always like getting up and kind of rolling my arms and rubbing my shoulders and things like that to kind of get myself relaxed. You know what? I like this enough better that I'm going to replace the other one that we replaced. Control Shift D. Move it down so that it's down there beneath the arm it's going to replace. The name comes from the messed up pronunciation of ZBrush Threepwood in the French version of Monkey Island. I have a massage gun and I honestly don't like it. ZBrush Threepwood. Tripouille. Yeah, my French is terrible. I'm not great with French. I like French, but it's a super hard language. My wife speaks French. And she's really good at it, but she doesn't really get the opportunity to speak anymore. So I tried to learn French as a means of being able to give her an opportunity to practice. Alright, that's a little bit better. Okay, so this arm is like, it's super twisted as is. And I need to twist it down, but that's going to twist it even more. Shoot. Oh, are you guys... So here's a... Oh, I've actually never heard of it. It's kind of funny. Um, who are you talking to anyway? I'm talking to a user on Twitch. Are you guys not seeing the messages back and forth from the different platforms? Interesting. Well, bummer. Yeah, so there's a user on Twitch named ZBrush Tripouille. And then there's, on YouTube we've got a whole bunch of people too. That's weird. That's weird. I wonder if the setting somehow got turned off. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I want to be able to rotate that hand, but I don't want to screw up the I don't want to screw up the twist of the arm. I don't want to twist the arm any more than it's already twisted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. Let's say delete hidden. We'll mask that. Go ahead and align that here. Put it kind of in the middle of the hand here. And then we will kind of just twist the hand to something like that. That's way too much. Something like that, maybe. And we'll soften out our selection. We'll kind of rotate this a little bit, just to kind of ease out the topology some, and to kind of align the shapes a little bit better, maybe, if we can. It's a little bit, needs to be a little bit stronger. And we'll just raise that up a little bit. And then ZModeler. Let me see. Small question, is it possible to find old version of ZBrush plugins somewhere? All over the place. Most plugins that people have been using for really like any of the recent versions of ZBrush, all of those plugins that have been developed for previous versions of ZBrush would still work for whatever's current. So I mean, you'll find things on people's websites. You'll find things. Let's go ahead and turn that on. MRGB color fill object, and then we'll smooth it out. We got everybody kind of cross-platforming it here now. It sounds like my daughter's watching Tangled downstairs. It's such a great film. It's such a great film. I feel like Tangled is that starting block for Disney to really find their 3D style. It's so great. Okay, so now that's better. I just need to fix like the position of this pinky and and make it better. let's go over here. We'll I'm getting into a zone. I'm sorry if I'm not being as responsive as like I said earlier, terrible topology, but you know, it's enough for what we need. So I'm not too terribly worried. I'm going to change kind of where these fingers are rotating to. Something kind of like that, getting a little bit of a grouping. It's not great, but you know, we'll get there. We'll get it there at some point. Let me see. Ooh, tune in for our next industry spotlight stream featuring Ashley A. Adams, stylized characters from Netflix Animations on August 9th at 3 p.m. Wow. So that's in 3 days, guys. That's in 3 days. How would I easily fill my body mesh with darker skin tones than, and what's the best base material to use to do so, as I'm having these fill object issues trying to do so? That's a good question. So I mean, there's a point of like if you wanted to, if you already have like some sort of skin tone to your character, you could come down to poly paint and you could say adjust colors, you know, say frame so we can see what we're doing. And then we can just take this and we can kind of, you know, shift our hue if we want to. You know, so we could get something that's maybe a little bit more naturalistic. We could try boosting our saturation and then lowering our HSV intensity. Kind of play around with these three some. So yeah, we can get like different skin tones in this sort of way. It's not the most natural looking. It's kind of odd. But it's a matter of coming in and playing and getting something that feels interesting. So we could get like a darker skin tone, kind of like that. If we wanted to, we could go something kind of cartoony and darker. We get like a purple. But you know, we play around with those sorts of things, and then I would use that as a base, and then I would go ahead and do like the subtle changes, like with you know, darker skin. You'll usually have like lighter colors coming into the cheeks, or like the other bony landmarks, like around the eyebrows. Okay, not usually. You'll sometimes have stuff like that. And it really just kind of depends on whatever reference you're looking at to be able to get that sort of thing going on. If you wanted to be able to just start over from whatever color you're picking, like say like a dark red, I don't know. We'll say MRGB. It doesn't matter which brush you select. You just turn on your MRGB. You select your material. Right now I have skin shade 4. And then I'll go color, fill object, and you'll see that'll fill that in. And then I can go ahead and I can select something a little bit like this or something like that. And we'll say RGB, and we'll start bringing in kind of like these bony mass highlights in here. We could make the lips a little bit more, maybe more purple, a little bit darker. So we get this sort of thing kind of going on here. Or we can also like kind of really lighten that up too, so that we get a little bit of that kind of fleshy color like we get sometimes here. Let's actually take this, maybe take it a little bit darker. For the nose, we could, like, you know, play around with it a little bit. it really all just kind of depends on what it is that you're trying to achieve with this sort of stuff, because there's a lot that you could do. It's just that, you know, playing around with skin tone, it's going to take some reference. It's going to take some research to really get something that feels. Maybe we'll lighten up around the eyes so that it feels like a focus point. And then we could maybe come over here to like a yellow green for some eyeshadow. Yeah, I don't know, all sorts of things that you can kind of come in and play with. Yeah, lots of things you can play with. Let's get something like this for the eyelashes, just to so yeah, I don't know, lots of stuff to really kind of play with. Yeah, I think it's going in kind of an interesting direction. I think it'd be something that's interesting to explore, but in fact, maybe what we'll do is we'll just come over here. We'll hit Control-Shift-D, just so that we have a copy that's that red. And then we'll just go ahead and take it back so that it's back so that it's green. I think what I might do, let's go ahead and let's say append, we'll say sphere 3D. Let's go ahead and select that sphere. We'll bring it down so that it's in position. I want it to be about that size. And what this is going to be the Earth at some point. As of now, it's not, but that's fine. Okay, so this stuff has topology to some extent already. I'm going to, oh shoot, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Control-Shift-A. Control-Shift-A. We'll say split hidden. Let's see if we can actually get some geometry reconstruction here. Looks like we can't. Oh, because it's got the single. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. Let's do this. And I'll say subtool, split hidden. With this, I want to go through and kind of count my subdivisions. Thanks, Chris. Disney had first attempts with Chicken Little, Robinsons, and Bolt, and came back 2D. Yeah. Went all in with Tangled. Tangled had been in development for a long time, like something like 16 years. And they couldn't do it at first because they didn't have the technology they wanted to be able to handle the hair. So once they got that down, that's when it all started really rolling forward. It's really kind of an interesting bit. Okay, so anyway, we're going to go through and kind of count the divisions. We've got 1, 2, and 3. So I am going to insert multiple edge loops. Just insert 1, 2. And maybe we'll call that good enough. This should work. In theory, this should work. So let's come over here, geometry. We'll say reconstruct subdiv. It's not going to work. Let's try adding in this other subdivision layer here. Reconstruct. Oh, come on, you're supposed to work. There must be somewhere where it got messed up. Not a big deal. I mean, it's just a for fun project anyway. Oh, you know what? I bet it was right through here. I bet there's some points somewhere where it got merged together. Yeah, at least feels nice now. A little bit less rigid, less hard-edged. Technology is magical. It is definitely magical. They seem to want to tackle a new technical challenge with each movie, like Pixar did. For sure. For sure. No, I will definitely not rig and animate this. It would be cool. Yeah, no, it would definitely be a lot more work than I think I'm up to for a personal project at this time. Oh, come on. Come on. I kind of want to smooth out this piece here just a little bit here, especially in the middle. Trying not to be too heavy-handed with it. Have I ever used Marvelous Designer for clothing? It's been... I did use it at Warner Brothers Games a little bit. Sorry. Working on Hogwarts Legacy, we used it. But really, I haven't used it outside of that. Is this too many polygons? In some places, yeah. I wish that I could go through and just have that. I mean, I could go through and easily just say ZRemesher. We'll say keep groups. Let's hit ZRemesher and see what it gives us. It'll probably give us something decent. As long as it's clean. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Oh, it's a little bit messy down there. I don't particularly care for that or that. Let me see. Or that. Here, let's see if we can get this to work nicely. Because I do want this to be lower resolution. I don't want this to be this high. Oh, is this enough polygons to animate, or do you have to reduce more to rig and animate? To be able to rig and animate, it needs to have clean topology. And currently, it's not it's not clean. It's not set up for that sort of process. So it's not something that I'd be able to rig and animate very easily at all. Yeah, it would take a ton of process to be able to get this to work right. Yeah, let me see if I can get... Oops, come on. Yeah, because I'd essentially have to go through, unpose her, which that would be a process. That would be a long, crazy process. For a lot of characters, really like... So for instance, at Marvel, we don't technically count our polys really at all. We do try to be economical in how we put our, what we put into our characters, because if we make if we put too much into a single character, it's just going to get messy. And it's going to get heavy and hard to work with for rigging and for animating, etc. Right? So Tessimation and ZBrush aren't the same thing. They're similar, but the structure of what they do is different. So we can show you that real quick. So Tessimate, and we'll just go ahead and do that. You can see like it's going through and it's giving me a whole bunch of triangles, versus ZRemesher, which gives me here's what we're going to do. I'm going to keep focusing. It'll give me a whole bunch of quads. And I guess we kind of shared that a little bit already earlier in the stream. But yeah, it's super, it's fascinating. It's great. I really like having those options. Tessimation, one of the tricky things about it is that it's not going to be very clean, but it's going to be a way for you to get an even distribution of triangular geometry all over your mesh. So it's similar in that it's trying to get an even distribution of topology. Turn off adapt. Let's turn this down to like 1. Hold Alt and hit ZRemesher. But it's not going to try very hard to keep things clean in a sense of usable topology, whereas ZRemesher does. ZRemesher almost never gives you something that's perfectly clean and ready for animation, but it gives you something that can be pretty close if you need it. That's messy. That is really messy. Let's just try without holding Alt then. Is basically Decimation Master, but instead of... So Decimation Master is different because it'll go through and it'll keep higher resolution of geometry in areas that are high detail, or like where there's a lot of surface change. Yeah, it's still giving me some boogered up stuff there. Let's try that. Oh, I was hoping that that would work. Oh, shoot. Okay, delete higher, Control D, delete lower. Okay, we'll call that good. Now what we're going to do, now let's try the Z remesher. Maybe I'll keep it at 5 for now. Hold Alt, hit Z remesher. This should, in theory, work. But yeah, so decimation is different from that standpoint. Whereas tessimation will go through, and it will make an even distribution of polygons. So depending on what it is that you're trying to achieve with it, that's kind of the idea. You know what? I'm going to get rid of the polygroup going around here like that and see if this will be better for me. Control D, delete lower. That way we just have this even distribution of polygons. Hold Alt, hit Z remesher. One of the things I'm trying to avoid is having like weird polygon stretching happening down in here. I like my topology to be as clean as possible. And if I can, here's what I'm going to do. I think if that goes all the way around, which it kind of does, let's say polygroups, auto groups. Let's go ahead and hide this bottom section. Geometry, modify topology, delete hidden. Okay, I'm going to do kind of like what I did earlier. We're just going to slice this up. Let's just slice it all the way across, because why not? And down through the middle. Get one here, get one here. Okay. This way, hopefully, we'll get, that's a little bit skiwampus. Let's go ahead and do it like that more. That'll be a little bit better, I think. Let's say Z remesher, keep groups. Let's try this again. It's not even better. Here, let's go ahead and just bring this down like all the way. Not even all the way, let's say 0.5. Yeah, no, it's not going to work. I'm just going to take it back up to kind of where it was here. We'll leave it at this for now. Just that's fine. That's fine. It's just meant for a final image anyway. It's not meant for animation, like I was saying. So I'm just not even going to worry about it. I'm just not. I do want to make some chunk geometry eyelashes, and I do want to get rid of this little dimple here on her cheek. This is one of those things that I was looking at when I looked at my screenshots from last week, and I was like, that looks a little bit less appealing. It makes her look less natural. So I'm just going to kind of fill that cheek in a little bit here. Trying to look and see, like, you can see this is like dipping right here. So that just means I gotta kind of raise this out a little bit. play with these forms some. Make that a little bit cleaner. Let's see, how about women's superhero shoes, boots? How would you suggest going about it? I'm not at a point to be able to show you anything about creating boots. You could use something like extract. I like to just box model things. It's like, I mean, I need to build out her feet anyway, but it's not something I'm really at a point to say color or fill object. I kind of like that color, so I'm just gonna bookmark it. But one of the things that I would do is I try to keep shoes really low resolution for as long as possible until I would need to build in more detail. And it's always important to kind of keep a low resolution until you need to build in more detail anyway. But I think especially with something as complex as shoes, you run the risk of getting really wonky, wobbly shapes that feel very unclean if you're not careful with it up front. So I like to. I could show you, I guess, an example of a shoe that I have that I tried to keep really clean. Maybe not. I have no idea what happened to the clothes. That's embarrassing. The clothes are a little bit off in their placement right now, but here are the shoes. And you can see like it's very low resolution, very simple. This is something that I was building out for a personal game idea that I have. So you can see I'm trying to build out the character and all that. But yeah, the shoes are just meant to be super simple to describe the shapes. Boots would essentially be like the shoes, but with this top area extended up. I try to keep things very clean, so it's always just a matter of putting in what you need to be able to describe the shape, but sculpt the shapes, model the details. That could work. That could work. But yeah, I mean, with her, I mean, she'll probably have like flats. Yeah, Jimmy did stop by. He's awesome. He's been a good buddy of mine for a few years. Never had the pleasure to be able to meet him, but he's somebody I'd love to be able to meet at some point. How would you make wrinkles on stylized characters? Like, are you talking about wrinkles as in like for the face? Because wrinkles for the face, you want to. That's a whole big topic. That is a big topic. And I'm trying to think if I have a good character that I can pull up to show. Well, this guy's kind of interesting. I don't know that he's necessarily my favorite example, but we'll check him out. That is so messed up. Okay, let's go ahead and fill material. That's better. Okay, this guy, his name is Brent Adams. He was a teacher of mine when I was in school. Uh, it turned out pretty fun. um, I feel like I got the likeness pretty well. But so one of the things that I'll do for wrinkles is it's always about controlling the topology, and for instance, like these laugh lines kind of going around the mouth, uh, getting that to go around the little divot there from the corner of the mouth, really helps to create this really fleshy kind of lifelikeness there. Getting the crease underneath the eye, this eye bag kind of section here, but then also getting this natural folds kind of coming out from the corners, trying to control this bit through here, just by grabbing the edges and pulling it in. Um, um, so I don't know what Prashant's methodology is. I know that what I'll do, for instance, I'll start with. eh, let's go ahead and just bring a shoe down. Come on, you. Oh, shoot. Or start off with something like super simple, like a soul shape. You guys hear the movie? I know I can. Okay, there we go. That's better. I'll say split hidden and just kind of hide that, whatnot. We'll hide that. Geometry, modify topology, delete hidden. Delete hidden. Display properties double so we can see it. We'll get rid of the texture map because we don't need it. MRGB, color, fill object. Oh, let's give it a. Something that we can see and work with. Modify topology, delete hidden. So yeah, what I'll start with is something like a basic soul shape. Okay, just kind of flatten this down. Damn it. All right, there we go. Now I got a good soul shape. And you can get these sorts of shapes by just taking like a cube and kind of adding divisions, creating your shape, and then you can kind of add like an inset to be able to give it that loop going around the outside. I like having the loop going around the outside because it means that I have more control over things like just makes it so that it's a smoother transition from bottom to outside of the foot. Okay, do something kind of like that. And then from here, it's easy enough to just kind of extrude it out, or say Q-mesh all polys, because why not? This poly group is where it's going to start to kind of transition and turn into something else. So I'm going to start with like this section back here, maybe take these 8 polygons on the inside here. We don't have to keep them, but I'll keep them for now. Come here. So we'll kind of pull that up. Select that pink poly group. We'll mask out the white one. You can kind of like smooth that down a little bit so that it's nice and neat, nice and clean. Okay, and then for the tops of the boots, what I would do is I would just grab this this top poly group here, and then control click and drag until it gets up to about the right height. And then you can start to play with shapes and the way that things kind of run together. I'm going to start by adding in a bunch of edge loops through here. Maybe just start with just one for now. Okay, you can kind of reshape things. In fact, I should probably do this before I extrude things up. Just kind of reshape that. Pull that in a little bit just so it's a little cleaner of a shape. Okay, let's do something kind of like that. And now we can grab that poly group and then control click and drag, and we've got ourselves the top of a boot. If we wanted to, we could even take it, extend it out again, so that way we have a nice kind of clean edge here. Let's lower down that edge. And so we've got kind of a nice little shape here. Kind of manipulate this to fit whatever profile we want to have for these legs, for these feet. Try to get the right shapes. Some of these things will have to, maybe it's just a matter of just smoothing it up. Oh. Whew. So yeah, this is more kind of the process that I would go through personally. And then I just continue to add in divisions and refine as needed. Obviously, like at this point, we would need to kind of reshape it so that it fits the calf. It's nice to have this set of polygons still there so that we can kind of judge the cross section of the boot at that point. Yeah, and then we just kind of keep adding and tweaking and pull this back. You could take this and you could use like your transpose line. You can just hold Alt and kind of pull up on it some. Get like a little bit of like a foot there, and adjust for thicknesses. And then if we wanted to, we could take this this bottom polygroup, control click and drag that down a little bit, so that way it gets us a little bit more of like a soul. And then we have this option of being able to modify that if we wanted to have like a little bit of lift here at the end, or if we wanted to have a lift at the front, or if we wanted to have a little bit of like a little bit more thickness here at the back, we could do something like that. And then we can go ahead and we can say bevel on this. Say 2 rows. And then we can hide everything except for that row there, and we'll say deformation, we'll say inflate. Sorry, other direction, come on you. It must be an inverted surface. You see, now we've got these boots, and we can, once we're done, we can go ahead and we can get rid of that top surface, and we got some boots. The other thing I got to check though, it looks like our surface is probably inverted. So let's go ahead and make sure we have everything visible. We'll hit flip, and now we've got everything reverted to the right direction. So now we've got some boots. So that's kind of what I would do. You know, starting off with a cube, extrude it out to be able to make the length of the shoe, and it's starting very, very basic. I just tried to use something else to be able to speed up the process a little bit. Let's go ahead and smooth a little bit so that it's nice. But yeah, she got herself some super boots. Let's turn off the solo mode. What I would probably do then, you know, just to be able to transition these to more the type of shoe that I want to have, I'm going to bring these back to before I had the seam there. Do something kind of like this. And then we'll say, let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. We'll say geometry, delete hidden. Now we've got a good little pair of flats here. I like to try to recycle when I can. It just makes things simpler. Yeah, for instance, at work, I was working on a character that needed a pair of trousers that were similar to trousers that I had already modeled for another character at work. So it's just a matter of me going through, taking the trousers from the other character and modifying them to work for what I need. It's a very common practice, and it's nothing wrong with that. Gotta work smarter, not harder. Well, you gotta work harder too, but you know, you gotta work smart too, so that the working harder actually counts for something. I am going to mask this edge. Gonna bring that up a little bit, just so that it's kind of splitting the difference between the bottom edge and the top edge. I have other shoes that I could have borrowed if I wanted to. Like I have stiletto heels from my witch character right here. You can't see her shoes in this picture, but you know she has them. Some like stiletto heels. It's like if that was the kind of shoe that I felt like I wanted for this character, I could have, you know, played around with that. Yeah, I like the idea of the flats because of who this character is supposed to be. And it's supposed to be more of like a, we should go with like a green or something like that. In ZBrush, can I move one vertex? Yes, it is possible to move one vertex. If you're talking about, you know, and just grab one vertex, moving it around. Yeah. Let's duplicate this down. We'll keep those as the shoes. And then I want to actually see. We'll see about actually keeping these and modifying them to be feet. Let's go ahead. Let's grab this. We'll grab this. MRGB, color, fill object. Didn't mean to hijack the the stream with the boot questions. I needed to get the feet in there at some point, so I mean it's not all bad, right? It's now I need to just get the feet in there, and we'll call it even. We'll call it a refocusing of energies. Reusing something I just made to be able to create something that I need. But hopefully it was helpful. I mean, hopefully in the very least it was. Hopefully in the very least it was helpful. This is a little bit messy, so I want to try to pull this down a little bit, make this more in line. Might not get to be perfect, but it'll get to be. And through here, just kind of make the ankles really quite thin. I might take. Like I'm not liking the way that. Well, I guess one of the other things that I had done was I had split the difference in these edges here, so maybe it's just a matter of doing the same thing for the foot. Go through and kind of work on the transition around here for the foot to ankle area. Oh, he's nothing but a big sweetheart. Just kind of bring this up, make it so that it feels like it's more in line with what we want. And we'll have to push and pull on the shoes too at some point, just to be able to figure out really what it is that we want out of the shoes. Thanks, Rashak. À bientôt. Yeah, careful with the neck posture. Yeah, for sure. So get some shoes in here, kind of like this. It's not really working for me quite yet. There's going to be a lot of, come on you, a lot of pushing and pulling for this to really start to feel quite right. But I think I'll leave it as it is for now, because I mean it's not looking bad, it's just that it's not quite right. Bonne journée, merci beaucoup. Yeah, we've done quite a bit with her today. I gotta call it a day though. It is almost 11 o'clock. Oh, I wish that I had time. I could go in and like finish off the ponytail, because like we've got all this beautiful mess of a hair kind of coming down. And I feel like it just, well, I mean, it does. It just terminates. It doesn't have the end of the hair there yet. So we got to do that at some point. And maybe what we'll do, I'll be streaming again in 2 weeks. Not next week, but the week after that, right? I think what I'll do is when we come back in 2 weeks, I will go ahead and do the end of the hair. We'll make some flowers for like an IMM brush, and then we'll start to decorate the hair like we were talking about last time. Because that'll be super neat to have that hair working. And it'll help her feel much more flowery and alive and springtimey and all that, right? So lots of fun stuff to look ahead to. And gosh, yeah, lots left to do, but golly, I'm liking how she's looking so far. Gotta save it before we lose it. Usually Quentin's here like to tell me, you know, save your work. Go ahead and we can kind of see some different angles here. Something kind of like that and like that and like this or something. I don't know. But yeah, lots of fun stuff. So yeah, we'll see what we can do, and yeah, next time we'll be around and got no spare time till 2 weeks later. Felt so productive during this stream. Thank you for this. Yeah, for sure. Thanks for coming, Ashley. But yeah, so that's where we're at. That's where we'll end. That's where we will pick up 2 weeks from now. The next stream coming up. Let's take a look at it just to see who's next and when. I think it's not until Monday. ZBrush live. Por favor. Let's see, let's go to the calendar. Okay, so the next one coming up is Shane Olson on Monday. And that'll be in the morning. And then I think they've got Pablo Munoz after that. And they've got a pretty full day on Monday. That's pretty great. And then on Tuesday is when they have that industry spotlight with Ashley. So that'll be really cool. I'm going to have to remember to try to tune into that one because that should be really fun. She's always great, really insightful, really fun to watch. So yeah, cool. From Salt Lake, from Melbourne, from Seattle, and then from a couple different places on Tuesday. Awesome. So yeah, I will see you guys next time I see you. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me for a little bit. I always have fun. It's always nice to kind of dive into personal projects and figure things out. Hopefully you guys had fun. Hopefully it was instructional or fun or whatever you wanted it to be, right? Gosh, yeah. We'll see you next time we see you in 2 weeks. Take care, stay safe, stay healthy, and see you next time we see you. Ciao.